What's up, guys? We are checking out a release that I wasn't really sure I was going to be able to get a hold of, and yet here we are. So today we're taking a look at the San Diego Comic-Con 2019 early release version of the Black Series Sith Trooper. So this is the one that comes with all the extra accessories and of course is a few months early at this point. So I'm really excited to take a look at this guy. I think we've got a lot of changes with the Trooper that are going to be huge positives, and it's red and it's in a fancy box, so there's a lot of cool stuff there anyway. So as far as packaging goes, this exclusive version comes in an outer red slipcover, so you've got some embossed work here with the Star Wars, you've got some lines that run down the side, and then you've got the Sith Trooper that is in the corner and then on the side of the box itself. And then you can pop this guy open and you've got the figure on the inside, you've got the Star Wars logo down there on the bottom, you've got the Trooper on the back, but you can pull these tabs on the side and you've got kind of an armory for all of the weapons that he comes with. So you've got 3 over here and you've got 2 over here, and it's very reminiscent of the First Order Trooper early release, the Jyn Erso, the Rex early release, those kind of things, but of course done up for this particular figure. So great presentation, but of course we're here to talk about the figure, and I'm actually going to pull this guy out. So let's do it. Let's rip this guy out and take a look. And here he is out of the package, our Sith Trooper. And you know, like a lot of people, I am a bit of a sucker for troopers, and this guy is definitely no exception. He, as far as action figures go, really is doing something right. And honestly, as far as just the build quality and what we've got to work with articulation, he might be the best trooper we've ever gotten, because they have made some small but very necessary changes on this guy to really make him a little bit more posable and just easier to play with. So I'm really happy with how this guy turned out. So let's jump right in, take a look at articulation, see what this guy can do. So obviously this guy is similar to a First Order Stormtrooper, but he is definitely not the same in just about every aspect, not just the color. So you've got a head that can look up, and he can look down a little bit. You can rotate side to side, and then you've got arms that go out. You've got flexible shoulder pads to help you move with that. You can rotate all the way around. Butterfly joints at the shoulder, which is a much needed and welcome change. You've got a single jointed elbow still, but they have fixed this elbow and it is much more posable. It doesn't stick as well, and then it just works. So it's basically a 90-degree elbow, but you maybe a little bit more than that, and then you can rotate there as well. You've got hinges and rotation at the wrist. You've got your upper diaphragms joint here, so bobble side to side, rotate all the way around. He can go forward and backward a little bit. Legs go out pretty far. The detents in these thighs are interesting. They very much kind of fit in a certain spot. So like he wants to go up and then he goes back just a little bit, but when they go out, they are really out there. So they stick into place, and when he goes back to normal, to neutral, he's very well planted in place as well. You've got a thigh cut, you've got a double jointed knee down there, and then you've got rocker, and you've got hinges at the ankles, and I find that this guy stands just a lot easier than most troopers. I have had no problems posing this guy around. Even just standing straight up was oftentimes a hassle with some of the troopers in past years, but he has no problems whatsoever. He just stands in place and he looks cool, and he's very well articulated and definitely has some much needed changes that, frankly, I wish we had had all along. Now, as far as the overall look and feel goes here, this guy definitely has one big thing going for him, and I don't need to tell you what that is. It's obviously that he is red, and we're going to see what I assume is going to be a red trooper in the movie. I'm of the opinion that this guy may do absolutely nothing, or these guys may do nothing. We might have another Praetorian Guard situation on our hands. But as far as an action figure goes, it looks pretty cool, and honestly, outside of the fact that the articulation is definitely a marked improvement over all the other troopers we've ever gotten, this seems to be entirely new sculpt, and I can't really find anything that tells me otherwise, because everything on this guy is covered in all of this texture, which kind of corresponds to the texture that's on the outer sleeve of the box as well. So you've got all of these lines that run through the chest, they run through the torso, they run down the legs, they're on the thighs, on the inside and the outside, they're on the shins, they're on the feet, they're even on the pads on the hands. So everything here is different, but very similar, of course, to what we've seen from a First Order Trooper. And looking at the box a little further, I'm honestly not even sure if this guy would be representative of the First Order. He just happens to look similar, because he has a logo that we have not seen before. It's not the First Order emblem, it's something new. So who knows? maybe a little tidbit as far as the story goes. But there's a lot of cool stuff going on here, just little details that make him kind of shimmer in the light with all of that line work. We do have a little bit of paint here and there. Of course, you've got some black and red, depending on what the plastic is molded in. Most of this guy is just red molded plastic. And he's pretty vibrant. He's very saturated in color. It's pretty consistent across the figure as well. You've got this little, I guess maybe like a spotlight or something on his shoulder here, so that's definitely new and unique. And just a lot of little details throughout. There's not a whole lot to really write home about that. Yeah, this is the greatest, newest thing ever, but he's unique enough from all the other troopers outside of the color to really emphasize the fact that you've got something new and different on your hands here. So it's not just that he's red, it's that he's also covered in a bunch of sculpt that normally for a stormtrooper you wouldn't see. We've also got the asymmetrical knee pads back, so that's a little throwback to the, to the OT stormtrooper there, which I like. That's pretty cool. And then of course you've got your head sculpt up here, which is our bucket, and we've got our helmet, and it is very similar again to a First Order Stormtrooper, but it is different because it has a little bit more angular design, and it's got more of those lines that run through the top. They run around the mouth and on the front of the face and then on the top of the head, and then of course you've got the black for the eyes and the lines that run around the mouth and the nose. So it's something that we're very familiar with in terms of an overall design aesthetic, but he's something very different at the same time. And if he ends up looking like this in the movie, I think Hasbro's done a really good job. Either way, I think we've got a really fun toy on our hands. And as usual, I want quite a few of these guys. Now, of course, we have to do a comparison to an original First Order Stormtrooper, whether or not this guy truly is a contemporary or a replacement for the FO Stormtrooper. There are a lot of similarities, but there are a lot of differences as well. And the biggest thing for me is just the look of angular design versus kind of a more soft and curved design. And you can see next to each other there's a very night and day difference, especially with all that line work that runs through. Not to mention the fact that this guy really has a hard time even holding his guns in many cases. This figure alone just has a lot more sculpt going on, a lot more to separate him from the First Order Stormtrooper, outside of the fact that he's red, of course. But they're just a very different but similar thing. So again, maybe not necessarily the best comparison, but it is something that you can kind of get an eye for when you look at two of them side by side to see where some of those illusions were drawn from and what has been changed and improved in many ways with this new red trooper. Now, undoubtedly, one of the coolest things when it comes to this figure is the array of accessories that he has, because it's 5 different guns. So he's got a lot going on here, and I'm not too sure that we're going to see all of these in the retail line, at least not right away, and certainly not with a retail mainline figure. So we're probably going to see this gun, which I've already got him with, and I just had to throw him in a pose because he can hold the gun, and it looks relatively realistic, and it's not difficult to do this either. So you've got kind of his standard gun here, new sculpt. You've got reds, blacks, silvers, pretty decent sculpt. It's definitely a little more unique. We've got this guy here, so you've kind of got his Monday through Friday stuff going on, kind of regular guns, the stuff he's using to plow through insurgents or, kill rebels, whatever you want to do. More blacks and reds and silver. And then you've got this weird guy here, which is kind of like the Jaws of Life, but what my wife has dubbed it, and a friend as well, the nipple clamp. So this is, the Saturday night fun that he has. So after the work week, play around with this guy, and it's got a working gear in here so you can actually move these pieces around. More blacks and reds, obviously a very unique sculpt. And then after the drudgery of the work week and Saturday night's fun, you have got some yard work to do with your Sith Trooper kind of hedge trimmer here, and I think this is maybe going to be along the lines of the Riot Trooper baton, because it looks like he wants to hold it upside down and kind of string it along his arm like this. I really like the idea of that. Probably something similar to the Praetorian Guards type of swords. So that's pretty cool. And then you've got your Sith Trooper leaf blower as well. And this guy, I believe, looks to be a retool of the First Order Heavy Trooper, the big tripod gun that it has, because this is all the same stuff with a little bit of change up here at the barrel, the stripes that are in there, and then it doesn't have the actual tripod in this guy here as well. So I think this is mostly just a lot of reuse with some retool, but it works really well, and frankly I thought it was its own thing until I kind of got them side by side. But this thing's pretty cool. It's a little big, kind of cumbersome, but I like the idea behind having a tremendous array of very different accessories for this guy. I'm not so sure we're going to see all of this stuff in the movie, but I'm not upset about that. Even if it doesn't come to that, I think it'll be really cool that once you've got 5 different troopers, you can have 5 different guns here, or weapons rather, and have them all kind of doing different things, because I definitely plan on doing that with my figures. So overall, this is a really good figure. I really don't have anything to complain about on this one. I think, if anything, this is going to be a big surprise to a lot of people that kind of thought that this was just kind of another cash grab type of thing. And let's be honest, it is. It's another trooper to get people to buy toys. But Hasbro has gone above and beyond on this guy. Instead of just slapping some red on a First Order Stormtrooper, we've got a newly tooled, newly sculpted figure with new articulation, and this particular version comes with a really snazzy box and a great deal of really weird and, in many cases, fun accessories. So this one was kind of a no-brainer. I'm really glad I got my hands on it. It's definitely a cool taste of things to come with this line, and I'm really, really curious to see what other kind of troopers we're going to get out of this, especially now that we've got these updated articulation schemes, because knowing Hasbro, I know they've got more in the pipeline, and this has really only whet my appetite for even more stuff, as usual. So that's going to do it for this look at the SDCC 2019 Star Wars Black Series Sith Trooper exclusive. Let me know what you guys think. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and until next time.